Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Fifer, served up by Wendy's on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Download the Wendy's app today.
Welcome in. It is Wisconsin Sports Daily. See Sparky Fifer here. Charlie using other side of the glass. And, buddy, it still feels good, doesn't it? Doesn't it still feel good? Even though you went to sleep last night, some of you quit on the game and went to bed before it was over. Some of you went to bed when it was halftime. Again, if you got to get up to go to work early and so forth, I get that. I'm not trying to make you a zombie at work the next day. But some of you that I was calling out last night on the Green Bay football postgame show to start and the Nicolay Law fan talk and text line that were running your texty fingers in saying how bad this team was and this sucks. I'm going to bed. I'd rather sleep than watch this crap. Blah, blah, blah. You must have had one hell of a surprise when you woke up this morning and saw what happened in the second half. You probably only missed the best half of football that we've seen from the Packers since that Cowboys game a couple of years ago. No biggie. I'm sure your dreams were just as fine. Coming up this hour, Dusty Evely, Acme Packing Company, Pack-A-Day Podcast, great film analyst. He'll join us coming up at 2:40. Looking forward to chatting with him. Charlie Sounds of the Day coming up at 3:40. And then Green and Gold Update. Matt LaFleur talking coming up here in the next hour and a half or so. So we'll play back a couple clips from that. Things that we missed comes up at 4:40 today, like always. And, of course, the Wisconsin Sports Wrap-Up Show with Tommy Wirtz comes up at 5 o'clock. Now, yesterday, in the first half of the game, when so many of you were so mad at Matt LaFleur and Jordan Love, what was happening? Well, had a couple missed field goals by Brandon McManus. And shame on those of you who are asking for the other guy to be brought back.
You don't want Lucas Haverick?
Come on, man. Nobody in the league wanted Lucas Haverick. Nobody. So, dude was out there on the street, sub-teaching or whatever he was doing, hanging out, and they got a call. And he was amazing, right? Amazing. Good job. But do y'all not remember the situation the Packers had previous to getting Brandon McManus? Luckily, when they got him, it was horrific. Now you want to go with another guy that has no track record and see how that works out because he had 2 weeks? Stop. Brandon McManus has a long track record. Man's coming off the injury list. He's fine. But he missed 2. One he was short on. It is what it is. That was a long kick. The other one he missed completely. So fine. But that overreaction was ridiculous on social media that I saw. Then it was Matt LaFleur. He don't know what he's doing. He's a horrible play caller. Man, Tucker Kraft dropped the third down pass. Romeo Doubs dropped a 1 or 2 passes there in the first half of that game. This was more than just, oh boy, they're not doing anything. Jordan Love was playing well the whole game, including in the first half. And they should have had more than what they had going into halftime. And people were just hot about this Packers offense. They were mad. Now, thankfully, y'all weren't mad about the defense too, because the defense played more than well enough in the first half and played more than well enough in this football game for them to win. Tommy and I last night in the Green Bay football postgame show. You can go download that wherever you download your favorite podcast at and check that out. Tommy's like, you weren't nervous. Come on. I wasn't. No, I wasn't. Not at any point in that game did I think they were losing that football game. Not at any point. And there's a couple of reasons for that. Number one, there were too many opportunities that they simply just couldn't take advantage of in the first half to think they weren't going to take advantage in the second half too. Like eventually things were going to start to pop. And they did. And they took advantage, right? Tucker Kraft, huge game, as they've been talking about all day here on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Bill Barnwell, you know who that is? He writes for ESPN.
I do, yeah.
Bill Barnwell wrote a piece today, like he does every week, and he does a little game synopsis for every game in the National Football League for week one, or for this week, not week one, but for this week, going into Monday Night Football. And What he wrote on the Green Bay Steelers piece was talking about how Tucker Kraft probably is the most complete tight end in the National Football League right now. I think he still puts George Kittle 1, but Tucker Kraft is right there in that conversation. I got some breaking news for you. Tucker Kraft would have been in this conversation much sooner had they actually got him the ball more earlier in the season. There's no question that he would have been in this conversation much sooner, but that hasn't happened. Now, in the last 2 weeks, it appears maybe they have figured this out, that they should get him the ball more, which obviously is a good thing. But after that second half, where Jordan Love completes 20 straight passes, Packers win for the first time in Pittsburgh since 1970. Bart Starr was the quarterback. I have a simple question. It's not hard to understand. Have you changed your tune on doubting Matt LaFleur and Jordan Love? Have you changed your tune yet? Do understand that this team scored 27 points in their first 4 victories, scored 35 in a loss or in a win yesterday, scored 40 in a tie. They had scored 27 in every win and 40 in a tie going into that game, going into halftime of the second half. That was the situation. And yet, here we are as Packer fans doubting whether or not they know what they're doing, doubting if they're any good. Why? Why? Like, what did you see in the first half that you weren't happy with? You weren't happy with Josh Jacobs not busting out runs? Okay, fine. Have you changed your tune on doubting Matt LaFleur and Love? And if not, please do explain to me what it's going to take for you to change your tune on doubting Matt LaFleur and Jordan Love. I want you all to draw a line in the sand and tell me, hey, if Jordan Love does this, I'm in. Or if Matt LaFleur's offense can do this, I'm in on LaFleur. Because you know what I think? I don't think there is a line in the sand. I think for most of you, you're going to not like Love no matter what the man does. And I think for a lot of you, you ain't going to like Matt LaFleur either, regardless of what he does. In fact, I'll take it a step farther. I'm willing to bet you, like poor Chris Middleton, that if they win a Super Bowl and at the first sign of distress the following year, you all will be back on the bandwagon, doubting Love and doubting LaFleur and criticizing them left and right, regardless of how much success that they have. That's what I think. Nicolay Law, talking text line. You tell me. 414-677-1250. 414-677-1250. Those of you that are listening right now that are like, hey, me, Sparky, I love Matt LaFleur. I'm in on Jordan Love. You ain't talking to me. I'm not. But you know what I do know? You know the people I'm talking about. You know those people. I got my father is one of them for Jordan Love. So I deal with this all the time. He calls me this morning. What? Jordan Love last night. I was like, you weren't even awake. You were sleeping. Yeah, I went to sleep. I saw what happened. Blah, blah, blah. You were sleeping. Stop. You wouldn't even watch the second half. You went to bed. He gets up early. He goes to bed late or goes to bed early, gets up early. Come on, man. I seriously want to know. Last night on the postgame show, Rainbow Trout on YouTube called me a shill for the Packers. All right. That's cool. No problem. You think I'm a shill for the Packers? I'm pretty sure everyone in Green Bay listening right now on WNFL in Green Bay, Packers themselves would laugh and say he is the farthest thing from a damn shill. But if you think I am, that's fine. I just want you all to come at me and tell me what I'm missing here. What leaves you with so much doubt about these two guys? Because Charlie, they know what they're doing, believe it or not.
They do. And they are very good at what they do based on what we saw last night. I think with Jordan Love and with Matt LaFleur, again, the biggest key I've talked about this season has been Jordan Love taking control of the offense and Jordan Love taking more of a leadership role, not just in the way he speaks, but on the field as well, and taking the game from Matt LaFleur out of his hands a little bit and putting it into his hands. in the second half of this game, I think we saw that. I think we saw it a lot. I think we saw Jordan Love just say, screw it. This is my team, my field, and I'm going out there and balling out.
They did what I asked on Friday. Didn't I say to Ryan Wood, man, part of me wants him just to go, here you go, Jordan Love.
Right.
Go show
just
off,
do
man.
it, man.
Go
just
show
let
off.
him play.
Go do you, man.
He's ready. You can see he's ready. It's awesome. It's really cool to see.
What happened?
And Matt LaFleur is letting him do it. And I think this is something that both these guys had to learn at some point here. I think when Matt LaFleur had Aaron Rodgers as his quarterback, it really kind of sucked to him that Aaron Rodgers was trying to take the game out of his hands so much, and it frustrated him. They had a little bit of a fissure there between the two guys. And Jordan Love needed to learn that he needed to take that next step and tell Matt LaFleur that it needs to be his game sometimes when this game isn't going as well as you planned initially.
Yep.
And they both just did that yesterday. And now you need to see that continue moving forward here. I said it on Friday that I wanted Tucker Kraft to get as much or better in this game than he did in the last game. And they did that because it was Jordan Love taking over, Matt LaFleur letting the game take over and just happen what's going on out there. It was beautiful. This is what we need every game moving forward from the Packers.
That's exactly right. Now, this is some of what I get to. Sparky, do it for 4 quarters. Let's see him do it for 4 quarters. And my response is, do you watch the National Football League? How many quarterbacks in this league and offenses do it for 4 quarters for 17 weeks? How many? How many of these teams do it for 4 quarters every single week? Maybe the Colts offense, because they're on a whole nother level right now. But outside of that crazy team, outside of them, the rest of these offenses, including the Kansas City Chiefs, who you'll see tonight, they aren't doing it for 4 quarters either. Mahomes is having his struggles too, throwing interceptions and having problems. Nobody's doing it for 4 quarters every single week. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you, oh, yeah, they're going to win a Super Bowl, even though he is going to turn 25 here shortly, or 27 here shortly, and that's what we do. But this is a good football team. Regardless of what some of you were saying during the game. They're not good. Blah, blah, blah. They're overrated. I knew they weren't that good. Stop, man. Stop. Give these dudes some flowers. Give these guys some love. You've got the Panthers coming up next. Andy Dalton didn't look like he even belonged in the National Football League this last week.
If Bryce Young plays in that game, though, it's a different game.
Sure, to a degree, but Bryce Young don't scare me either.
No, not that much.
No. I mean, you got to worry about him running a little bit, but outside of that,
they have a better game plan for Bryce Young than they do Andy Dalton, apparently.
Andy Dalton's going to he got sacked 8 times, I want to say, in that game against Buffalo.
That was the biggest thing. He just would not throw the ball for some reason.
Like 8 times he got sacked. But either way, so Carolina, that should be a win, right? And then it's Philly. And it looks like they're starting to get Saquon on track over there. A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts, that's a whole nother thing. But it looks like Saquon's going in the right direction. So that's going to be the next test for the Packers. They should be 6-1-1, best team in the NFC, going into that game against Philly. And that'll be another test to see how good is Jordan Love, how good is this Packers offense, how good is the Packers run defense that continues to look just fine to me, not all that horrible. Warren looked okay for them, right? Gainwell looked okay for them. But they didn't own the game. That's not what happened. This Packers defense got home. They got home with Micah Parsons. They got home with Rashawn Gary multiple times. They forced their 4th turnover in the year with Cooper. That was a really good football game. And we should be getting closer to the point of watching this offense, of expecting them to score touchdowns every week. It should not be at halftime, in which we don't have a ton of points, that we're going, well, it's over. We're not going to score in the second half either. Based on what? Cleveland? That's legitimately the only game where they didn't score up a bunch of points. Outside of Cleveland, every other game, they've scored a bunch of points. There's no reason to doubt at this point that this offense won't figure it out and get going. And then you add Christian Watson in this bad boy with Tucker Kraft, with Matthew Golden, who they don't throw the ball downfield to, don't know. But with Matthew Golden, with these other guys, I mean, even the backup running back, Wilson, you could argue he outplayed Josh Jacobs yesterday.
I don't think you can argue it. I think he did.
Yes.
If for a majority of that game when Wilson is out there, I know his box score doesn't say he was better than Josh Jacobs, but it felt like the whole line just wanted to block for him better, which I don't think is actually true. I think it's more just Wilson was hitting his holes faster and was able to make those cuts quicker. But Josh Jacobs finally looked like he was getting tired or getting sick, because the last couple of weeks he's been sick and it didn't look like it on the field. Now it looks like it's starting to get to him a little bit. The rest of this team needs to pick it up, and they did it last night, 110%.
The other part about this that I think also kind of needs to be talked about a little bit here. Offensive line play. Jordan Love didn't get sacked one time. Jordan Love was getting rid of the ball in under 3 seconds for that game. It was like 2.49 seconds or something like that. Every time, that's what he was averaging. And we read off a series of tweets from a guy that covers the Steelers yesterday saying, oh, Pittsburgh's defense is going to get, railroaded by the fans this week because they didn't get to the quarterback. But then if you look at what time it was taking him to get rid of the ball in that game last night, nobody's getting to him in that amount of time. It's just not happening when you get rid of the ball that quickly. And when you play on time like that, Charlie, that gets a defense frustrated, namely the defensive line frustrated.
It's not just playing on time, it's controlling the tempo of the game. We talked about it with the best teams in the league last season, the Lions, the Eagles. What they did best was just control the pace of play at any given moment. And again, you saw the offense do that. Now it'd be nice if the Packers offensive line could run block a little bit, because their run blocking was not very good at all last night. But that's the dichotomy we've seen all season, is where their pass blocking looks like one of the best in the league and their run blocking just looks atrocious, which is just not how we thought it'd look at the beginning of the season.
Exactly right. Coming up next, we're going to talk more about the Green Bay Packers and Tucker Kraft, because there has been a lot of conversations for the last, 3 to 6 months about contract extensions, what to do with Romeo Doubs, Devontae Wyatt, Quay Walker, all these cats. Nobody's talked about Tucker Kraft, to the best of my knowledge, for the last 6 months about possibly extending him and doing something with him from a contractual standpoint. We'll talk about that up next. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here, Charlie using other side of the glass, and mornings can all start to feel the same. So if you're looking for a fresh wake-up call, look no further than Wendy's breakfast. Try a breakfast baconator with fresh cracked eggs and crispy bacon, a grilled sausage breakfast burrito, or maybe even a honey buddy. Don't even think about sleeping on Wendy's seasoned potatoes and English muffin sandwiches. Doesn't matter what you go for, it's gonna change your life. Okay, well, it'll at least freshen up your morning. Ready for a fresh wake-up call? It's gotta be Wendy's.
3rd and 4. Wilson has played a quarter of this game for Jacobs as the back right now. Pressure coming. He picked it up. Inside. Kraft's got it. At the 10. Kraft running away to the end zone. He has 2 touchdowns. You see that? I do this.
It's big time. He's a big time player. And I think, everybody's seen, what he's capable of when he gets the ball in his hands. Just making guys miss, running people over, getting those extra yards. So that, anytime he touches the ball, he's going to try and fight for all those yards. And he's just an explosive playmaker. So, I'm just glad that, everybody's kind of seeing what he's all about now.
They are definitely seeing what he's all about now. Jordan Love, highlight courtesy of NBC as well. It is Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy. Sparky here, Charlie Usen over there. Thanks to all of our fine affiliates of the NFL in Green Bay, 99.7 FM, 93.9 The Game in Wausau, 710 The Game in Duluth Superior. What up? And, of course, The Fan Milwaukee at 1250 AM and 105.7 FM The Fan. As we talk about this Packers football team, 35-25 victors over the Pittsburgh Steelers and Aaron Rodgers yesterday. Everybody was expecting a jersey swap after the game between Rodgers and Love. And on the Green Bay Football postgame show last night on the network, Tommy and I talked about that. I'm like, okay, well, apparently they're not doing it in front of everybody. So maybe once everybody gets off the field, to go out there and do it. Rodgers was then asked about it at his presser, said he ain't talking about it as far as what they're doing. I would assume he will sign something and get something to Jordan Love at the end of the day.
In a mic'd up moment that I haven't seen the actual clip of, but I've seen people talk about on Twitter. When I find the clip, I'll get it. Apparently, Rodgers says he'll send him the jersey.
Yeah, when they were meeting at midfield or whatever. Yep. Yeah. So, again, I was never fearful that he wasn't going to do it, but it wasn't going to be the photo op that I think everybody was hoping to see from both of those guys after that game. Now, does he do the jersey swap if they lose? If the Packers lose and Rodgers wins, does he do the jersey swap?
Easily. I'm sure he's taking off his jersey right away and say, "This is for you, Jordan, man. This is my parting gift."
You think so?
Yeah.
But he lost, so that I'll send you something.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be a private.
I tend to believe you on that. Yeah. A Dusty Evely, Acme Packing Company and Pack a Day podcast comes up here at 2:40 in about 15 minutes from right now. Should Tucker Kraft be the number one option for a contract extension in Green Bay as we sit here today? Now, nobody that I've seen has brought up Tucker Kraft for an extension. I didn't see anybody talking about it in training camp. I didn't see anybody talking about it in preseason. I haven't seen anybody talking about it in the first couple of weeks of the season. Now he has back-to-back big weeks. So now I'm guessing now this will become a conversation piece. Quay Walker. Apparently, according to reports, they've been working on something with him for quite some time and for whatever reason can't seem to figure out how to get it done. Devontae Wyatt, they pick up his contract option for a 5th year, so that delays them having to work on an extension for him. Okay, fine. You have Romeo Doubs, who everybody assumed they were probably going to trade if they could have stayed healthy, but then they couldn't because you had Watson and Jaden Reed both out at some point. Now with Watson back, does that open up the possibility? I think you would crush Jordan Love's soul if you traded Romeo Doubs. So I don't feel like that's a possibility either. Having said that, with all due respect, you can't sign Romeo Doubs before you sign Tucker Kraft. This cannot be a thing. Secondly, I don't think I'd even consider signing Romeo Doubs to a contract extension at this point, knowing that I'm going to have to pay Christian Watson here at some point as well. And I'll argue that Wyatt, specifically Wyatt, is probably more valuable right now to this team than maybe even Romeo Doubs, who, again, really good football player, definitely has become a love favorite, and all of that. So this isn't throwing shade at Romeo Doubs, but I'm just saying for importance of what they're building here and how the future may look, it looks like Tucker Kraft should be the number one option in this offense going forward. And if you look at some of these other deals that are out there right now for Tucker Kraft, you're going to have to pay him a good amount of money. And better to get that done now before he continues to go on, put on an all-pro year or something like that. And then you wait to the offseason. Well, now the price goes up because now he's on an all-pro year playing at his height. Better now to get that deal done than waiting to the offseason. And you definitely can't allow this cat to get to free agency after next season.
Well, and there's not really going to be a lot of tight ends looking for contracts or big name tight ends looking for contracts next offseason either. So this could be a moment where you could just set the market and get it over with if you're the Green Bay Packers. You could say, you know what? George Kittle's getting $19.1 million per year right now. We'll pay you $19.5. $400,000 a year more than George Kittle seems like a pretty good deal to me. If I'm Tucker Kraft, I can live with that. And I don't think that's really breaking the bank overall for this Packers team. Now, I think that definitely does mean you're not re-signing Romeo Doubs. You're not re-signing Quay Walker. But I think you could still get something done with the Devontae Wyatt in that situation too, because he's not going to be that expensive. Those big defensive tackles don't make that much money. I think these are two positions where they're extremely important to your team specifically, but overall, they're not going to be as important to the rest of the league. So right now, when you can pay them when they are at their cheapest, you might as well go and do it.
I think the comp right here for him is going to be Trey McBride of the Cardinals because he's a younger guy, right? Kittle's older. Hawkinson's up there at the top 3, top 5 in total value. He's an older player. This is maybe a little bit more comparable as McBride's an age 26 season. McBride signed a 4-year, $76 million contract with the Cardinals, including 16.5 signing bonus, $43 million of the 76 guaranteed, average annual salary of $19 million prior to this season starting. For me, that's the model that I'm going after. If I'm going to do something, I look at the Trey McBride deal and go, I'll give you the same deal. Give you the same deal that makes you number 2 behind Kittle in total salary. And it works out at the end of the day if you can get that done. And then if you look at how this all looks out cap hit wise, based on how now, again, the Packers could structure it however they want. They don't have to do it Arizona's way, right? But this year, cap hit for Trey McBride, $9.5 million, $8.7 million in 26. Then it jumps up to 16.1, 24.1, 23.1 at the end of the day. But when it jumps up to the 20s, then dead cap numbers are $6 million if you cut them, $3 million if you cut them. So really, you can get out of this thing quickly after the first 2 years of this deal if you wanted to. They're not going to want to with Tucker Kraft. But with already having 2 guys combining to make $100 million in Jordan Love and Micah Parsons, you do have to sit here and think about, okay, we can probably invest a lot of money in one of these skill players at wide receiver / tight end. Who is that going to be? For me, it's Tucker Kraft.
I think so. I don't think it's Romeo Doubs. He doesn't have the same kind of upside as I've seen from a Tucker Kraft so far. I think, yes, like you said, he has a really good relationship with Jordan Love, but that doesn't always show out on the field. It would be different if Romeo Doubs was getting 10 receptions a game and consistently being that Julian Edelman to a Tom Brady or something like this. But it's not like that. In a game like this, he's the third receiver. He was the third option last night to Christian Watson and Tucker Kraft. So if that's the guy that you want to look at paying, you just can't feasibly say that's right compared to Tucker Kraft.
Let's go to our YouTube at WI Sports Radio on YouTube. If you missed the Mike McCarthy interview last week on the Mason Crosby show, make sure go back and listen to that. Really good interview there. We had Joe Thomas on this morning on Inside Wisconsin Sports. You can go listen to that. Or check out Andy Herman. Did you see Andy Herman on YouTube this morning?
I did. He was rocking the helmet.
Wearing a helmet during the entire freaking interview. What? But it was really good either way. So Joe Thomas and Andy Herman this morning on Inside Wisconsin Sports with Josh and Trevor. Really good stuff. Now, I got one here from 920. Packers cannot extend Kraft until after the season per CBA. Thank you. So they're going to have to wait till the season's done. I'm telling you, the first day they can get that deal done, they got to work to getting that deal done officially. Now, well, you may not be officially able to extend it, but one would hope they're at least talking to agents to try to get this thing done, regardless of anybody else having to know or not. All right, what do we got on the Dugout YouTube chat?
If we head over to WI Sports Radio on YouTube, Anton, the leader of the Dugout chat, says, do you think the Packers take the chance on trading Christian Watson instead of talking about Romeo Doubs? Due to Watson's injury history, trade him while he is healthy. Your take?
Well, I was listening to 9 to Noon with John Kuhn and Robbie McElroy today, and they were talking about DK Metcalf. And Brandon Snodd, God bless that boy, was saying, no, I'd rather have Golden over him. I'd rather have Tucker Kraft over him. I'd rather have Christian Watson over him.
God, that guy loves the Packers.
I'm saying, he don't want him. He said he's a head case. I don't want DK Metcalf on my team. Meanwhile, Rami and John Kuhn thinks he's nuts and said, absolutely, I'd take DK Metcalf. The benefit of having a guy like Metcalf or Watson is you get speed and you get size. Now, Watson ain't ripped like Metcalf, not the same body type, but both super fast, both tall, both can high point the ball and out jump guys with their length and long arms to grab balls. That's why Watson is more valuable than Romeo Doubs, in my opinion. Okay? Now, the injury part of this, I think it's a fair point that Anton brings up as far as how long is too long to hold on to this. Because of the two, who's got the better chance of becoming a superstar if healthy? Christian Watson. All day could be a superstar. But he's got to stay healthy. To this point, he hasn't done it. Who brings you back in more in value trade-wise right now if you decide you wanted to trade one of those guys?
Christian Watson.
Yes, because every general manager is going to view him that way. So from that perspective, I think if I'm good at Gunst, I'm leaning Christian Watson over Romeo Doubs at this point.
Well, and if you trade Christian Watson, I think dumb GMs are the ones that are going to be looking at a player like that more and say, oh, he could just fit in wherever his system you want to put him in, which I don't think is 100% true with a Christian Watson. Guys looking to get Romeo Doubs are going to be the smarter GMs, in my opinion. They're probably going to try to fleece you a little bit more. I think you want to be the smarter person in the situation here, and that involves trading Christian Watson probably.
I can't do it. I can't. There's just too much upside. I can't do it. There's just way too much upside. I think Romeo Doubs, you know what you have right now. I don't know where the upside is, right? I think he is kind of at who he is kind of going forward. And if he's listening, he's like, screw you. I can get way better. Maybe I apologize if you can. But I'm just telling you from my perspective, it looks like he is just going to be a really good football player, which is great. Do you know how good you have to be be a really good NFL player, right? So that's not negative. We're just talking upside, game changers, difference makers. Yeah, Christian Watson is that guy. Tucker Kraft is that guy. You need more of those guys. I think Matthew Golden could be that guy once they start using him the correct way at some point going forward. Charlie Houston over there, Steve Sparky Fifer here. Coming up next, Dusty Evely, Acme Pack Company, Pack a Day Podcast film analyst, one of my favorites. We'll talk with Dusty Evely coming up here in just a bit. But before we do that, up for a game? Potawatomi Sportsbook is right there with you. For all international games and matches, the Midwest's best sportsbook opens early. Place your bets, kick back, and enjoy the show on an absolutely enormous video wall. Then grab a cold one, along with food from a menu packed with flavor. Not up for watching the game, but still want in on the action? You can wager on any sport, anytime at quick service kiosks. Bet above the rest at the Potawatomi Sportsbook. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. Welcome in. It is Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy. Steve Sparky, Fifer here. Charlie Usen over there, other side of the glass. Sports Talk on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network, presented by Paramount Plus. You can't count on much these days, but you can always count on Sundays with the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus. Watch your local NFL game every Sunday on CBS and Paramount Plus all season long. Visit ParamountPlus.com/NFL to get started today. Joining us now on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network, that's Hotline, powered by Gruber Law. Oh, he's looking good today, folks. He is looking good today. Evely, there he is, Acme Packing Company and the Pack a Day podcast, film analyst extraordinaire. Follow him on Twitter at Dusty Evely. Dusty, how are you doing, my friend?
Brother, I'm doing great, man. We got Victory Monday, sitting pretty, a little rainy outside.
Yeah, we'll talk to the Packers. Hold on. We'll talk about the Packers in a second. But for those of you who don't know, he also does stuff for the Colts as well. Dude, is this real, man? A Colts fan to you who covers the Colts. Is it real what's going on in Indianapolis before we get to the Packers? Because I've been poo-pooing this for weeks, man. Every time somebody comes on, Sparky, your Colts are doing good. I was like, don't talk to me. It's never gonna last. But I'm starting to buy in. I think that maybe this might actually last.
Yeah, I mean, my issue has been I keep waiting for Daniel Jones to crash back down to earth. Like that's the thing.
Yes.
And it hasn't yet, but at some point I feel like it will. But this is different. Like I kept like in my head, this was like that year when they beat the Vikings in the playoffs with the Giants and they went, and it was like, this is different than that. That was a fake offense. This is a real offense. He's ripping throws. We always knew he had the arm. Like he's looking good, man. The lineup front's killing. The skill position guys like Warren's a dog.
Taylor.
Jonathan Taylor's been insane. Woo. Pittman's been awesome. Like like just even looking at offensively, they're not that much different than they were last year, but the details are a little better. Like guys are like just running where they're supposed to be a little bit more. And Daniel Jones is playing out of his mind. So that's to me is like, I'm hesitant to buy in all the way because if Daniel Jones crashes down to earth again, man, like I don't know, but dude, they've been just insanely fun to watch.
Shane Steichen is coach of the year. Daniel Jones is comeback player of the year, and go down the list if they continue to play like this the rest of the way. Now, as good as they've been playing, Jordan Love had his own little fun yesterday against the Steelers. 20 straight completions, first time since 2007. First time Green Bay's won in Pittsburgh since Bart Starr was the freaking quarterback. In 1970, people were mad at during that first half. People were tweeting and texting. They were going to sleep. This team isn't as good as we all thought. But I mean, the dude had like 3 drops in third down situations. Yeah. They missed multiple field goals. Even though the offense didn't score like they did in the second half, I didn't think the offense was all that bad in the first half.
No, I went a couple of my brothers to a sports bar, and so we're sitting there eating wings during halftime, and that was what we were talking about. Was like, man, I don't feel great about this because the Steelers kind of started running by the end of that half there. It's like 16-7. They get the ball out of the half. Like, I don't love this. But then it's like, well, they don't all the same stuff you said. They don't look that bad. Offensively, I thought they were moving the ball pretty well. Run game wasn't great, but pass game looked pretty good, but they missed. Kraft dropped the one, Dobbs dropped the one, and then he had that other vertical one down the left sideline. Like you said, the 2 missed field goals. It was one of those, like, if you think about it, it did not look that bad. And you're like, well, maybe we got some hope coming out of this. If they can shut them down that first drive, I think they can score. And I think they scored on 5 of their 6 drives in the second half, and the only drive they didn't score on was that last drive when they just ran out the clock. Basically, I think it was 3 straight touchdowns and then 2 field goals. And if they hold on to those third down passes, the first half probably looks a decent amount like that too. So it was a little bit of panic because it's like they can't stop shooting themselves in the foot. If this continues, they'll lose this game. And then none of those issues cropped up in the second half. So it was encouraging second half to see that for sure.
We always talk about turning points of the game when we do the Green Bay football post-game show. Tommy Wirtz and myself here on the Wisconsin Radio Sports Network. And it's the funny thing about all of this is that when they didn't throw the flag on wide for going across, the next possession the Packers get, you throw the wobbling duck that Tucker Kraft literally pushes the guy off, makes the play. To me, that's a turning point because if that gets batted down or if that's not completed, the rest of that quarter probably changes.
Yeah, that's one of those that like that play is so much fun to watch, and watching Tucker Kraft in the open field is just absolute blast. But we joke all the time about Jordan Love has 1 or 2 moments every game where he's got the devil on the shoulder, just going, chuck it, man, chuck it. And that was one of those. I mean, I'd say the read was fine as far as like what he thought he was going to see, what they had on that. Like that was the right read. He had 3 guys on that side. The other 2 guys were covered up. I think he's trying to throw outside. Tucker Kraft's got like outside leverage on that dude. He's trying to throw quick out to that guy. but that gets blown up inside. And he's like, I know Tucker Kraft is like kind of open, so I'm gonna chuck it. That's one that easily could have been picked. Easily
Even said he didn't know. He said he threw it up and had no idea if something good or bad was going to happen. He was hoping nothing bad was going to happen when he threw it up. He even said it himself.
Yeah, we roll the dice a little bit on that stuff.
Yeah.
Like that's the love stuff. I thought, I mean, he played lights out most of that second half. Like he knew where the answers were. Even that first half, he knew where the answers were. If the stuff wasn't there where he initially thought it was going to be, he knew where his checkdowns were. He knew where the short options were. When they mixed up coverages, like he did such a good job diagnosing that. Once or twice a game, he's just gonna be like, but what if I threw this? It paid off this time, and sometimes it doesn't, but it's fun when it does for sure.
You called it the devil. I call it Brett Favre.
He's got
a little mini Brett sitting on his shoulder. Throw it. I throw it. Throw it. You should throw it. I know I'd throw it. The other part about this is maybe not as positive, but what's going on with this run game, man? I mean, Josh Jacobs couldn't seem to get it going. Wilson finally got it going there in the second half. Is this offensive line just not run blocking well enough? Is Jacobs missing holes? What is going on?
Line's not run blocking good enough. I mean, they stripped it down a little bit. They had been for years. I was so excited last year, man, because it finally paid off. For years, LaFleur had been trying to get to more like power stuff, and they're pulling guards. They finally were able to do that last year. Like through injuries and everything, they weren't able to do it. Last year, they finally did it. Run game was cool. Still, the line wasn't great. Like all those stats were not great, but the run game, like it finally was what LaFleur wanted it to be. And now they're back to kind of square one again this year. They've stripped a lot of that power stuff out because they can't pull, because a lot of those guys are running into each other, and it's newer guys and you're breaking them in. You got rotation, all that kind of stuff. So they've gone to a lot more zone stuff. They're back to the wide zone, back to the inside zone, the duo stuff. Like they've gone back to that. They just, anything outside, they have a hard time getting movement. A lot of that downhill, like the duo, like the inside zone stuff, and you're getting those double teams, they can hit some of that stuff. But it's just not been, there was not a great run blocking unit last year. And I think it's gotten worse this year. And I think some of that is they're trying to break in Jordan Morgan. Elton Jenkins hasn't what we hoped he was going to be at
What
center.
about Banks? How has Banks looked as a run blocker?
Generally fine, like kind of what I thought he was going to be coming in. I think he's evened out a little bit, but he's a big dude and he can move, but he'll get to that second level and get lost sometimes. And that's part of it. If you're going to break those big runs, man, you got to like shut off of one guy, get to that second level, and he can't line up linebackers. And he'll have some good moments and some bad moments, but he's been uneven. I mean, he's been about what I expected when they signed him, he seems fine.
Talking with Dusty Evely, film analyst, Acme Packing Company, and Pack a Day Podcast. Follow him on Twitter at Dusty Evely here on Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Steve Sparky Fifer with you. Matthew Golden is a guy that, again, wasn't very active necessarily in that game yesterday. Then somebody tweeted out that he took his Instagram account and made it inactive last night, which realistically, I don't care.
Yeah.
But having said that, is that the next challenge now for Matt LaFleur, is how to utilize him with Dobbs, with Kraft, with Christian Watson out there? Because you would think people are going to rotate to Watson. People are going to keep an eye on Kraft, and Matthew Golden should get a lot of one-on-one opportunities.
Yeah, you would think so. And I think they're going to alternate some of this stuff. I mean, last night it was a lot of Golden, kind of the runoff stuff, and then Watson working underneath. I assume they're going to flip-flop that a little bit, and Watson will be the runoff guy, and you work bound to Golden. I think one of Golden's issues, I mean, I will say to his credit, the numbers have not been there. He's working every time he's out there. The Instagram stuff, blah, blah, whatever. But like when he's called on to block, brother, he's going to block. I've not seen any like weird body language stuff from him after plays. He's when he's asked to be man run fast down. I mean, there's guys who like you see like run fast that way. This ball's not coming to you, but you need to clear this out. Guys will sometimes, if they get a little sick of that, they're not tearing off the line. He's tearing off the
Randy
line.
Moss.
Like he's doing Randy Moss. I think of Chicago last year, like DJ Moore was really bad at that. And Golden's not doing that. Like all this stuff is there. So it does feel like at some point this is going to break out. There are still some weird little moments where the routes aren't quite right. Like, and I think there's been some hesitance from Love. I think we saw it a couple times last night. It seems like Golden's open. And I think Love is still a little hesitant because he's not always where he's supposed to be when he's supposed to be there. And so I think there's still some of those details being worked out. It's getting better as the season goes on. So I do think we see that at some point. It's just been a little uneven from him. And then times when he's been open down the field, the pressure gets there. So it's one of those things. I do think he'll have his moment. He's had games where they're trying to work him in. It's just at this point with Watson back, I'm interested to see how that goes, but I very high hopes for him the rest of the season.
I've only got like 2 minutes left here, but Tucker Kraft, right? There's going to be talk of, is he number one in the NFL at tight end? Is he top 3 tight end? Whatever. Can I just say from my own perspective of watching tight ends, right? Because I'm a little bit older. So I've seen Paul Kaufman. I've seen Chimera. I've seen Jackson. I've seen Finley. I've seen all these cats. Ed Toolbox, West, all these cats. total package, I think he's better than anything I've ever seen on this Packers team because Philly was fast, but he couldn't break a tackle to save his life.
Yeah.
But Tucker Kraft can run past people. He can truck people. He can jump over people. It takes 2 guys normally to get him down. Like I think might be getting ready to maybe be the best tight end in Packers history before this is said and done.
Yeah, I mean, and that's like if I get nitpicky, and I tend to get nitpicky when a guy's doing stuff like this, like his blocking could still use a little work. Like he will miss sometimes. He's still like slightly undersized. He'll get knocked around occasionally. But yeah, dude, like his main thing, he's a psychopath and doesn't want to be tackled. Like if you get the ball in his hands, he's mad at himself if he gets tackled on first contact. I think that shows. Like that's his biggest strength right now. He is so much fun to watch, dude.
I'm loving it. Dusty Evely, Acme Pike and Company, Pack a Day Podcast. Follow him on Twitter at Dusty Evely. Always talking to Dusty. And I got a little cold stock in. Dusty, thank you so much, man. I appreciate you.
Appreciate you, Sparky. Talk to you later, bro.
Take care. There he is, Dusty Evely. Again, follow him on Twitter, Dusty Evely, Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from Wisconsin Sports Radio Network Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Dusty joined us there on the guest hotline, powered by Gruber Law. One call. That's what are you smirking about over there? I was talking to Dusty Evely and Charlie's over there smirking and stuff.
What do you mean?
I don't know. You're looking at me like smirking and stuff. I'm like looking at my phone. Did he send me something? I'm looking everywhere. I'm like,
I didn't mean
camera looks good on me. I don't think the camera's zoomed in on my face.
Maybe I was just happy to be here.
Oh,
Sparky.
okay.
You know,
Hey.
is that something that can happen?
Not
right,
rarely. Very rarely that happens. But yeah, sure. We'll go with that's what it was. It was just weird. I was like, all right, I'm gonna wrap this up because I don't know what he's smirking about. Coming up on the other side, we'll get to the 3:00 hour. Charlie Sounds of the Day, brought to you by Prize Picks, comes up at 3:40. Up next, I gotta talk about Jordan Love because there was Collinsworth who said Jordan Love was on the verge of being a superstar in this league after the telecast was all done last night. And I want to get into where Jordan Love is right now as we sit today. That's coming up straight ahead here on Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy C. Sparky Fifer with you. Chicago Charlie Houston producing today's show. Back after this.